Good morning and welcome to the channel. In today's video, I am going to be using these buckets and creating new growing spaces. I'm going to be taking some existing buckets and potting them up. And if you'd like to see how I do that, stay tuned. What I have in front of me are used plastic cups that I'm going to be recycling. I have my standard fertilizer, and I have two containers, two 5-gallon buckets that I got for free. As a matter of fact, it says they're 4.8 gallon. I got those two buckets for free. And I have in my teal bucket off to the left recycled soil that I pulled out of the garden yesterday. So I'm going to be setting up these buckets to plant up some new items that I have in the greenhouse that you all will see a little bit later. So let me show you how I start a brand new bucket. I first start this project by taking my bucket and turning over my reused plastic cups. Now my plastic cups have a hole in the side. Normally I would use water bottles, but I'm all out of water bottles, so I'm going to use what I have. And I'm just going to place my plastic cups on the bottom. The purpose of this is so that you don't fill this entire container full of soil. You only use enough soil you'll need to grow the item that you're putting in here, whatever that is. And of course, you will have some soil down in the bottom, and the roots will grow up and around and through and will be able to sustain whatever's growing in this pot. So I have some reclaimed soil over to the side, and I am going to just place some reclaimed soil in this pot. Before I fill my pots with soil, I went over and picked up some leaves that blew into the yard. And I'm going to place leaves down in the bottom, because leaves are full of nutrients. Even though they're dead, they're still full of nutrients. They have picked up or pulled into them all the nutrients that that tree pulled up throughout the year. So I'm just going to place some leaves in and around. And there's a little bit of grass in there too. I cut grass yesterday, so hopefully that won't grow grass. That would really upset me. So I'm just going to put the leaves in here like that. And I'm going to put some leaves in the other container as well. I know you guys probably cannot see that. It might be a little bit out of shot. But I'm going to put some leaves in this bucket as well. Just like that. All right, now that I have my leaves in there and I've kind of shoved them down and around the cups like so, now I'm going to place the reclaimed soil. Now I just take the reclaimed soil and pour it inside of the container like so. And I'm not going to fill it up, not quite yet. I'm going to do the same thing with the other container, even though you guys can't see it off camera, just like so. Now what you can tell is that I haven't used a lot of soil. Look at that. Haven't used a lot of soil, and that's the whole point. You do not want to use a whole lot of soil. Soil is at a premium right now. So I'm just going to tamp it down, and now I'm going to fertilize. I have at my feet my fertilizer. Today I will be using my vegetable tone. It's a Spelma vegetable tone. I have it in a reusable container, and I'm going to be placing it in here, both of them. This is a 1/3 cup. Just going to pop it on there like that. also going to take my, what is this, y'all? Do you remember? Osmocote. Yes, Osmocote. And I'm going to take a scooper full, one in there, or actually it's more like a spoon. The fly is trying to get into the game, and one over there, maybe a little bit more. So I don't think that one was full. There we go. Close that up. And I'm going to take my glove. My green gloves got wet yesterday, and I think I'm gonna have to go and get another pair because this one I think has a hole in it, and that will not do. So I'm just going to mix this up like so, just like that. And as you can see, as I move the soil, you can see the cups right there. This soil is right on top of the cups. Just kind of moving it around along the sides as well. This fly, man, these insects, that's the one thing I do not miss about spring and summer are the flying insects. They are such pests. They love this fertilizer. It must really smell like poop. And it looks like I've got a worm in there. All right, I've got worms in my reclaimed soil. Awesome sauce. So that's good. I won't have to put any worm castings in there. So I'm gonna place a little bit more reclaimed soil. Hope you guys heard that. I moved my bucket. I'm gonna place some more reclaimed soil on top of there, like this. I hope you all can see. I can't tell what you guys can see. And I'm gonna put a little bit of fertilizer in there as well. Not the same amount. There we go. And mix that in just like that. Just like that. And I'm going to put a little bit more soil just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I need to go get some more reclaimed soil. So I'm just going to mix it up like that. And I have a bag in the shed where I placed all of the reclaimed soil that I pulled out of the garden over the past 2 days. So I'm just going to mix that in. And now I'm going to go into the greenhouse and get that plant that I was talking to you guys about. But first, I'm going to mix this in this other bucket that you all probably cannot see. I hope you guys can see at least a little bit of it. I'm going to be doing the exact same thing in both of these buckets. So even if you can't see what's going on over here, I'm going to be doing the same thing in this bucket right here. So all I'm doing in the bucket on the opposite side is just mixing up that soil. So now I'm going to go and get my plant, and I shall be right back. What I have here is a purple beauty pepper. I hope you guys can see. I know I hit the camera a little bit. I had to move you guys. The sun is coming out. So I'm going to be placing this purple beauty in this container. I've had these peppers for many weeks now. I planted a couple of them, 2 of them, in my mother's garden, and now I am just getting around to planting my own. A little bit late, but that's okay. Better late than never. So I'm just going to squeeze just like this and take that out. Ooh, look at that. It really needed to get out. Yeah, it was really ready. I'm going to keep this little tag in the hopes that maybe when I do winter sowing, I might be able to find it again. Ooh, goodness. I'm going to put that back in there like that. Look at that. Yeah, they were ready to come out. Can you guys see that? So I'm going to place that one in the second pot over towards my left. And I'm going to do the exact same thing in both pots. I'm only going to show you one pot because I have a lot going on in the garden today and I want to try to get as much in. And I want you all to be present. So I'm just going to place this in the center, just like so. Make a hole with my hand and put it in there like that. I'm going to press down, push the soil around, make sure it's standing up nice and tall. Now what I am also going to do is I'm going to companion plant. I went over to my onion bucket and I've already pulled out a couple of onions. I didn't want to take you guys along because I do have a few things going on today. So I want to make sure that I make good use of today's time because it is warming up. So I picked up some onions out of my onion pot. I'm trying to replant those onions. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to place one over in this corner right here. Put him back in there. I just pulled them out so I don't want them to be out long. I don't want them to suffer. And I'm going to take this one and put this one right here. The goal always is to companion plant. I want to try to prevent any pests that may otherwise want to take advantage of an opportunity. And so companion planting, I'm going to do the exact same thing to the opposite pot. I'm going to speed that up so that you guys don't have to watch it real time. These two containers have been potted up. I've topped them with mulch and I have watered them in. So now they're going to go in the garden, and I have 2 more pots. Well, more than 2, but I think I'll only show you the next 2 that I'm going to work on. We'll see. There may be more than 2. These 2 buckets I just pulled out of the garden. I was using them as plant stands. Now these buckets I purchased last year because I was unable to acquire any buckets for free. But you heard this from me. I will never buy buckets again because I do have a source where I can get free buckets, but I was unable to do so when I needed them. What I have found when I pull these out of the garden is that these buckets that I purchased are thinner, and the walls of them are thinner. And when I drilled a hole, because I had to drill a hole in the bucket, you could tell that this bucket is much thinner as far as the plastic wall than the ones like the one right there that I got for free. So I'm never going to purchase buckets again. I have enough and I know where to go get them for free. This was a lapse in judgment, and this was indeed a waste of money. But I'm going to use these buckets, and as you can see, they've been out here one season and they've torn up. And the buckets that I got for free, I have no issues with them, other than one of them I broke the handle, but that's a handle. That doesn't mean anything. All I need is a bucket, not a handle. So I'm going to go ahead and use these buckets, and let me show you how I'm going to fix these up. I don't have any more reused cups, so I went into the shed and I'm going to be using some pots to fill the bottom of this container, so that I am not filling this entire container full of soil. Now I don't have any more leaves. I'm gonna see if maybe there's some over by the fence line so that I can fill the bottom of this with leaves, but for right now I don't have any. But let's put these cups in here, or these pots, and get just like the other pots that I just did, except I am going to be using these little pots to fill in the bottom. Use what you have. This is recycling at its best. I can put 4 of them in here. I'm not going to be able to get any more, but that's fine. This is going to allow me to be able to put less soil in here, like I mentioned. So let's see if I can find some leaves. I went over to the fence line, and voila, I was able to score some leaves. So in the bucket, they went. Now I'm going to take this reclaimed soil that I pulled out of the garden this weekend, and I'm just going to plop that in there like that. And this is just like the other 2 buckets, like I mentioned. I'm going to refresh the soil by putting in fertilizer. This is vegetable fertilizer, Espoma Garden Tone. I'm going to put a couple of scoops in there like that. And I'm going to be doing the exact same thing in both of these buckets. And I do have to apologize. My neighbor's dog is outside and he is annoyed by something or someone. Not me, because he doesn't see me. So I'm just going to mix this in like this. Just mixing it in. And refreshing the soil. Now, if you are new to my channel and this is your first time ever seeing my videos, and you're wondering, why don't I just buy new soil? Well, it's not necessary. Farmers don't buy new soil, so why should you? Just refresh the soil you have with amendments and keep on planting. Now, I need to put more soil in here, so that's what I will do. I decided not to go get any more soil because I looked at the container that I'm going to be putting in here, and I believe that this soil level is going to be fine. Now, I have a container here. Let me see if I can show you guys. Hold on one second. Let me show you what it looks like. I have this container right here. I created this makeshift grow bag out of weed barrier, and I feel like what's growing in it is not growing the way it should. And so I'm going to take this out. I think that this could be bigger, more vibrant, and I'm going to put this inside of the bucket. And then I'm going to dispose of this bag because I don't think it's the best growing bag to use. So that's what I'm going to be putting in here. And I think this is Ethiopian kale. I have to see if I can find a plant tag. I don't know if I have one. What I've done is I have taken this bag and I have given it a good smush around the sides. I don't want to dig this out. I want to see if I can lift it whole, if at all possible. I don't want to disrupt it too much. So I have a lot growing in here. I have the kale and I have some garlic. Well, that didn't work out the way I thought it would, but that's all right. Sometimes that's the way it goes. So I'm just going to place that kale in there like that. I've got a baby that I'm going to have to shift. And I'm going to take this out for just a quick second and I'm going to repot it. And if you have to repot some stuff, that's all right. Repot it. It should be all right. So now that I have it sitting in here a little bit up, and I can see I've got some really beautiful earthworms in this bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this soil. Let's see, I have my scoop around here somewhere. I'm going to take my soil scoop and I'm going to just scoop out this soil and scoop it inside of this pot. And hopefully I am getting those beautiful earthworms. Actually, they're not earthworms, they're composting worms out of my compost bin. Let's see. Yeah, I got a couple of them in there. Ooh, that's a nice big fat one right there. Come on here, you. Put him in there, down there, like that. You know, before I became a vermicompost person, you wouldn't catch me picking up worms or looking at worms. But now, when I see worms in my soil, I am very much excited about it. That's a nice big juicy worm right there. I'm not going to show you guys. I know some people are a little bit squeamish. So today I'm not going to show you the worms. Worms don't bite, y'all. And they're very good for your garden. If you have worms in your garden, you have extremely healthy soil. At least that's my experience in my garden. So I'm just going to scoop out a little bit more soil like that. I'm going to tamp this down. See, broken pot. Get out any of those air pockets. I'm going to place this garlic back in here. Take off that dead piece. Just going to put a hole. And I hope you guys are seeing. I had to move my camera. If you're new to my channel, I create with my phone and it got hot, so I had to move it. So I'm just moving this and putting it back over here like that and firming it in. Just like that. Just like that. And I'm going to take a little bit more soil and add it in over here. Right around there. And I'm going to do the same exact thing to a different pot. It is my pot with my Dinosaur Kale in it. So I'm actually going to put a little bit more soil, and I'm going to reclaim this soil as well if I have any that, matter of fact, I am going to have a half a bag full. I'm not going to put any more in here because I'm going to top this up with mulch to keep this nice and moist. So I'm going to move on to the Dinosaur Kale, and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing. I have already placed the leaves in the little pots in the bottom. So I'm going to be putting reclaimed soil that I pulled out of the garden in there, and then I'm going to put the Dinosaur Kale in that pot. So matter of fact, I need to cover up this little worm that I see. I don't need to cover him up, but I'm going to because he's moving around like, light, I don't like the light. We're going to get him out of there because I don't want any roly-polies in there. All right, let's move to the next part. All the steps of adding the reclaimed soil and fertilizing it have been done. And now I'm going to take this Dinosaur Kale that I hope you guys can see off over here. And I've already smooshed the pot to try to loosen up the plant itself, and I'm going to try to do the same thing and lift it out. No. And there we go. Boom. And I can see I have an egg in there that I use as fertilizer. So I'm going to just put him back in there like that. I'm going to get my... It's pretty gross looking. Oh my gosh, it's gross. All right, so I've got my plant in there like that. I'm gonna try to prop it up so that it's not looking so gnarly. And I'm gonna take this soil, and the egg is putrid smelling. Ugh. That was a mistake to pop that all the way. All right, so I'm going to take the soil and backfill around those roots like I did in the other pot. Like I mentioned, I just felt like this was not growing the way it needed to have been, and I don't know if it was the pot or if it was nutrients, but we're going to fix both of those issues today, as you saw. And I'm just backfilling. There we go. Don't want to cover anything up. Don't want anything to suffer. Tamp it a little bit. Now I don't see any worms in this container. I'm not seeing any, but that's okay. That is, oh nope, here we go. Come here, you. Get in the bucket. Y'all, I just have so much fun when I'm in the garden and I see my worms in these buckets. Man, that just makes me feel good, because I have been using my compost, my vermicompost, and even if you don't see any baby worms or eggs, there's always a possibility of them being in the handful that you dump in your bucket. And so this is the result when you see them. Amazing. So I'm just going to shift it around like that. I put a bunch of soil on this side, and I'm just going to shift it with my hand. This side over here does need some soil, so I'm going to take some more soil out of this bucket or out of that bag and shift it. Give it a shake. Now, Dinosaur Kale can get pretty big, so that's probably why it's leaning over. I'm going to take this leaf off because I see not only does it have damage, but it has something on the back that I don't want to be there. Some kind of something, I don't know, but it's going to go bye-bye. And I am going to clean these up. I don't want any of these ugly leaves on here. We're going to get it clean, but for right now, I'm going to do that off camera. I'm going to finish up with this soil. I am going to water both of these in deeply, and I'm going to top it up with mulch. Look at that worm. He's trying to go all the way down. Let me cover you up, baby. There you go. He's like, light. All right, y'all. So that is what I'm doing in the garden today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have so many more activities I have to do. I'm not going to take you guys along because this probably makes me over my time, but I want to thank you all for spending your time with me in the garden. I appreciate everyone who views, be that you are subscribed or not subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, why not? I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you coming back and visiting, but subscribe, help out my channel grow. I greatly appreciate it. I want to thank you all again for watching. I hope to see you all in the next video. Have a great day, y'all. Bye for now.